And guys, this recording will be shared with each one of you. First two classes like today and tomorrow class will be shared publicly. And after that, this will not. Okay. So guys, first of all, we need to understand that what are we going to learn? So guys, anyone who has any idea about like what is Linux? What is like Linux or Linux, whatever you call it?
Sir, it is an open source operating system.
Okay, open source operating system. Okay. And okay, let us write it. Good point. Open source. We will discuss about it later on as well. But first, let us try to keep it safe here. Open source operating system. So the very first point is open source. Guys, any idea about what is open source? Anyone who can share the like views on it?
Open source is a source which is open to the public. Anyone can edit it, and they have to then keep it open only. They can't have it proprietary.
Operating system.
Okay. So can you guys give kind of examples? Like if it is open source, then what is closed source and what an end user cannot edit?
Source code can't be changed by end user in a closed source. They are mostly proprietary.
Okay. Let me give you two examples. Most of people have played a game kind of Temple Run, right? Maybe Temple Run, Candy Crush, or
Yes, sir.
Subway Surfer. These were the like very popular games before a couple of years. Most of us must have definitely played these kind of games. So what if we are much aware of it, like what is going to be next hurdle for us? If we know, will it not be very easy for us that we can easily play the game and we can win as well? Moreover, we can break through multiple levels within single attempt. If we know that what is going to be next hurdle, what is going to be next obstacle, or you can call that challenge in the game, it will be really easy for us to crack that. Second thing, if we know it is open source, like source code is made available to everyone. Moreover, someone can reuse that code in order to build something new with its own name. Let us say I got the source code of Temple Run, like maybe game or maybe Candy Crush, kind of. Now, when I want to give it a new name, there should be no obligations. I can easily create, but obviously I will not charge it to end users in order to use that code. I cannot sell it out. If it is open source, it is made available to public. I cannot resell it because I did not purchase it. That is open source. Now, what is closed source? Let us say if it is Windows operating system. So Windows is a closed operating system. It is not open source, it is closed source operating system. We do not know how Windows is working in backend. Second thing, this is free. Like if we talk about Linux operating system, this is free. Like you can use different flavors of Linux, like you can use Ubuntu, you can use Fedora, you can use Debian, you can use Red Hat. Each operating system is free. But when we call it enterprise Linux, what we are going to study. So this is going to be RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So enterprise means we are going to take support from Red Hat side. Let us say we have deployed a server into our production environment. We will talk about different environments as well, although we discussed last time as well. But yes, once again, we will give it a recap. So let us say we have deployed a server into our production environment, and now we are facing an issue. Now, what would happen in that particular case? So there is some issue coming in, and we as Linux system administrator are not able to debug that. We are not able to fix that particular issue. Then How that is supposed to be fixed? Who is going to be responsible for that? So in that particular case, Red Hat team will align kind of expert from their internal team. They will come us on a joint call, and then after troubleshooting will start. So if we have an additional hand in order to provide a support from their SME, SME stands for subject matter expert. So Red Hat will align a subject matter expert in order to fix that issue, whatever is going on. If it is related to server, then the person will definitely help you out on that. Or if it is related to your application which is running on operating system, then the person will not do anything with that, because the person understands operating system itself, but not the application part. Are we clear with that? Like why we call it Enterprise Linux, RHEL? Because these guys are responsible to provide you support. So that is why it is known as RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Now, Red Hat does not charge for operating system, but Red Hat does charge for support. The kind of support you are providing, or like you are taking or they are providing. So for that support, Red Hat charges you. Next, when we talk about like what kind of operating system it is, like if we talk about Windows, there are two type of software. First of all, it is desktop version. Second one is server side. It is desktop. Let's leave out the version. So Windows comes with two flavors. Either it is a desktop, like you might have heard of like Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, this kind of. So these are desktop version. But if you might have heard like Windows 12, like Windows R12, Windows Server 12, Windows Server, let us say we have different like server. So Windows come with two different kind of flavors, like wherein it provides a different operating system for running on desktop side, and it provides a different operating system which is supposed to be used on like server side. There are categorization, but in case of Linux, it is not determined that the particular operating system is going to be used as client or server. So you can call that client as well, either desktop or you can call that client. So desktop or client, you can call that, or you can call that a server. So there are two categories of operating systems, either a desktop or client or a server. So when we talk about Linux operating system, so Linux is providing only single image of operating system or only single operating system based on your requirement. Either you can utilize it as a client or you can utilize that same operating system as a server. Are we clear with that? Any questions so far? Guys, any questions so far?
Sir, desktop or client server, once again repeat, sir. Please, sir.
Sure. So desktop, let us say you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
I am trying to browse kind of like this Amazon console from here. I am trying to, let us say, draw some kind of sketches on this particular screen. So the kind of system which an end user has, like you and me, that is known as desktop version. I cannot run very heavy applications on this laptop. This laptop can be used just to browse kind of application, just to develop some kind of application, or very like light-weighted task can be performed. Let us say I want to watch a movie. I can watch that movie here. I'll go to YouTube and I'll watch it. Maybe some other applications. There are multiple applications available today. So we can take subscription, and maybe if that is available for free, so we can watch that for sure. So if we are doing a particular task, let us say I want to update my resume, or let us say I want to like check any kind of document. So these kind of work are done on desktop, or you can call that client in version. The operating system which is installed in this laptop, this is a client side, client version of Linux, or client version, or you can call that desktop. You all must have maybe Windows, maybe Ubuntu laptop you have, or maybe kind of Mac you have. So whatever laptop you have as of today, so these are known as desktop, or you can call that client. Why it is client? Because let us say if I want to browse this application like apps.diagrams.net. So my laptop is a client for the server where this application is hosted, and wherever it is hosted, that is known as server. Why we are discussing this? So guys, before going forward, we should be knowing like what is the server and what is the client. So I treat that we are very layman. Right now, the kind of things we are trying to understand, these are very, very basic. Obviously, we will go into advanced manner as well, but obviously I do not want to jump directly into that particular configuration item. Like, okay, this is server, how do we configure it? So before configuring anything, I would want to ensure that things are working in a proper manner, things are set properly, right? So are we clear with what is desktop and what is server? What is client or what is server?
Yes, sir.
Any questions so far, guys? Okay, not a problem. So now, these particular machines are known as very like lower end machines, like 4 GB of RAM and maybe 8 CPU, dual core or maybe quad core CPU kind of we can have. But server has very high end configuration most of time. Not every time, but most of time it has very high end configuration. Moreover, the hardware is really different. These servers do not have any desktop attached to it directly. These are placed in racks and we have to attach an additional monitor with it in order to do configuration and all. If someone might have seen these servers in data center, then it is a really different experience. Okay. Now, when we are talking about like what is Linux and why do we read it, why do we learn it? So we need to understand Linux is an open source operating system, which is free. We can utilize it as client or maybe as a server. That will be depending only on our utilization type. How do we want to utilize it? Right, guys? Now the thing comes that how are we going to practice for it? Because practice makes a man perfect. Or I would rather say practice makes a being perfect, whether it is human or like any other species. If anyone does practice a lot, then the person will definitely become like perfect on it. So practice is really necessary for every single individual. Okay. So how we are going to do practice for it? Let us say today we learned a couple of commands, maybe like 2 concepts we learned today, like how do we create a machine, how do we create a server, how do we log into it, how do we check it is a virtual machine or a physical server. So these sort of basic things. So we need to understand that what kind of environments are available as of today where you can practice. So the very first thing here is like you can purchase a physical server. You can purchase a physical server and then you can start doing practice like whatever you want. Let us say you want to run commands, you want to install a kind of like software in it, you want to access it from some outside. So very first thing here is you can purchase a physical server and you can do you can start practice. But guys, trust me when I say these servers are really costly. Like these comes for multiple lakh rupees. Maybe like couple of $1,000 we have to spend in order to purchase a server. These are really costly. Second thing, we can purchase a desktop. Let us say someone of you has a laptop where Windows 10 is installed. Desktop means laptop, you can call that in other words. You have a laptop, now you want to practice Linux in it. So what can you do? So either you can, like initial time when we started working with this kind of operating system, there was a concept of dual boot. There was a concept of dual boot. Like we used to have 2 operating systems at the same time in that laptop or desktop, whatever it was. Like it used to be called dual boot. Anyone aware of what is dual boot?
Yes, sir.
Having two operating systems in the same laptop. While
Right.
booting, we used to select one of them and we can access that operating system.
Very true. So dual boot means, let us say, initially you install Windows, then you thought of installing Linux. But the situation here is you will be allowed to use one operating system at a time. Let us say right now you are working with Windows and you thought of going to Linux, you need to take restart of system. Then after once again, your operating system will give you an option that which operating system you want to start with. Either it is Linux or it is Windows, whatever it is. So that is known as dual boot. Okay. Now, what is next as of today? What other option we have? If your laptop, this desktop or laptop, whatever you call, if it comes with like good configuration, let us say if it is i5, Core i5, or maybe Core i5, or you can call that Core i7. It comes along with like 16 GB of RAM, maybe like 500 GB of SSD. So if this comes with such kind of hardware configuration, it means you can create a virtual machine on it. Now, what is virtual machine? So there are a lot of softwares available which you can use in order to create a kind of similar machine onto your base machine. Let us say this virtual machine, whatever we are going to create, this virtual machine will take resources from this, your physical laptop, your actual laptop. Then there is a kind of software which are known as which are used in order to create virtual machines, and the softwares are, let us say, first of all, you can use here VMware. VMware Workstation. Now, what does that mean? If you want to create multiple operating systems onto your physical server, so you can use VMware. Or maybe like there are plenty of software which are available as of today, like Oracle VirtualBox you can use. Another one name here is Oracle VirtualBox. So guys, why I'm telling you all these? Because see, we are not obviously going to use any of these. We are not going to use any of this, maybe VMware Workstation, maybe Oracle VMbox. No, we will not use any. But yes, at least we are supposed to understand, like when these kind of tools were not available, what we are using as of today. So how people used to practice. Let us
One
say,
question.
yes, please go ahead.
So VMware Workstation installs on an operating system like Windows or on
Yes.
bare metal?
So Windows Workstation will be installed on your Windows or Linux operating system. Then on the top of it, you will be allowed to create multiple virtual machine inside it.
I'm asking whether VMware works installs on bare metal or on an operating system.
On an operating system.
Okay.
So the another VMware which is known as ESXi, that is installed on like bare metal.
Okay.
That is for server side. Like when we want to install it on a server, so then it needs kind of like server edition. So this workstation is installed on Windows or Linux operating system. Then it provides you kind of environment where you can create other operating systems. Okay. So when we talk about like these are the kind of technologies which we are going to use. So let us say today we have a kind of interface like known as cloud environment where we can create machine and we can do practice, and then after we can terminate the machine. So if these kind of features are not available, so either we need to go for like laptop, like let us say that I have purchased a laptop with Ubuntu operating system or with Red Hat operating system, or maybe with any other operating system, whatever is preferable. And I did something in that. I wanted to install kind of software, but something went wrong. Things are not working as expected. Now, what will you do in that particular case, guys? In that particular case, there will be a situation you will have to reinstall your operating system because it is a physical server, and obviously a lot of scope for doing troubleshooting will not be there. So in that case, dual boot works. Let us say at least you will be able to browse the things with one operating system. But this was really old technology. Right now, people started working with like virtual machines. Either virtual machines can be created onto any kind of physical laptop, but in that case, your laptop has to be of high-end configuration. At least 16 GB RAM is recommended and Core i5 CPU. Otherwise, the system slows down. The virtual machine will work very slow, and obviously you will get like fed up with that, and you would not want to work with that. Now, how do we practice as of today? So these are known as cloud computing. Now, what is cloud computing? So in order to create a server, what is required, guys? Let us say you are hired with an organization as a fresher, or maybe let us say as an experienced person, like whatever you want. So the company has assigned you a task. And what is that? That you need to host a website. Hosting a website means that I have a static page where couple of I want to display kind of news on a website. So how would you ensure that things are working properly? And in order to make a website work, let us say this is a website, right? I want you to host a website like this for me. Or I want you to host a website for me like this, where a user can come and can draw something. Let us say I want to have an icon of cloud, I want to have I can offer an actor, I can have. So if I want you to host a website like this, so what all things will you need? Yes, guys, anyone would like to explain anything here?
Need a web server.
Okay, let us write that down here. So what will you need? Service.
Web server like Apache or Nginx.
Okay, you would need a web server. Very good. And service. My question here is, let us say company does not have anything as of today. You are the very first engineer for the organization.
First
Either
need
we
to
need
server.
First of all, you will need a server, like physical server.
Not the physical server, sir. Physical server and some AMI servers, Linux, Ubuntu, anything.
Very good, Shailendra. But let us say if cloud technology is not yet evolved, then
Then use the hardware server and use the virtual machine, sir.
and where will you create those virtual machines?
On operating system like
physical
Windows.
server.
So end of the Shailendra, the basic need there will be to have a physical server where you
Yes,
can install kind of like let us say you have a physical server. On the top of it, you have created a kind of virtual like VMware workstation, and you have created multiple virtual machines on it. But if you see, without physical server, you cannot do anything. Now, the main challenge here is what should be capacity of this physical server. Okay, let's talk about challenge later on. Only you will need one physical server. Now, where will you place it? You will need a rack. Rack means a kind of you can understand a kind of shelf where physical servers are mounted or are placed. That is known as rack. Third thing, obviously you will need networking for sure. Now, fourth thing here is you will need one ISP. Like ISP stands for Internet Service Provider, and that too with HA. Let us say you have only one legion, one internet service provider. What if that internet service provider stops working? Sometimes you might have felt that your internet suddenly stops working, right? It may be in your home, like your Wi-Fi router stops working. What do? You make a call to a service provider that my internet has stopped working. Person would visit your place, would do couple like some kind of troubleshooting, or will ask you to reboot your router. Kind of troubleshooting the person will ask you to perform. But if you are hosting a website where multiple customers are coming in and are performing multiple other things, will it be a good idea? Let us say ISP say that okay, my services will resume within next maybe 4 hours. What does that mean? Everything is fine, but internet is not working, and that's why users are not able to connect your data center or to your server. So that is why ISP, internet service provider with HA, high availability, at least 2 ISPs you will have at a time available. One is being used, another is being kept for backup purpose. Okay. Next, when we are talking about, obviously power supply we will need.
With the backup system.
Obviously with backup system, we will have, let us call it power supply only. Now you will need security. Security, both type of physical plus logical. Now, what does that mean, physical and logical? First of all, you will have to understand that whenever you are going to set up a data center, so you will have to ensure that no one should be able to log into their data center without your permission. Right? Second thing, if someone is able to log into that particular data center, the person should not be able to steal your data. So it means logical security has to be there. So physical plus logical security has to be there when you are trying to configure, when you are trying to set up a data center. Okay, so you will need physical as well as logical security. Are we clear with that? What is physical and what is logical? Like kind of you will need firewall here. You will need different level of security at physical layer. Let us say someone with a pen drive should not be able to log into data center. Someone with a hard disk could not be allowed to log into a data center. So physical plus logical security. Now, not only this is good enough, but whenever you are trying to set up a data center, you will need kind of certifications. You will need multiple certifications, certificate from local authorities, from NGT, from like local authorities, from central authorities. Then after, there are multiple other like ISO certification you will need, ISO 2001, ISO 2007, like data prevention security, like the kind of data which you are going to keep on your servers. So it means that data will not be manipulated at any cost. Getting point? So if you are ready to ensure this kind of security, then for sure authorities will allow you to keep customers' data inside your data center. And this is not it. The main challenge would come with you, and that would be the kind of physical server which you are going to have. So what is going to be the capacity? This is the main question. Okay, when you will ask your, let us say you are appointed with ABC organization and the organization has given you a task to set up a data center. Now, what kind of infrastructure would you want that company to purchase in order to set up this? The challenge here would be the capacity provisioning, the capacity planning. You would ask, okay, how many users are supposed to visit on your website? The company says, let us say we are assuming at least 1,000 users per day will visit our website. So how much hardware will you have based on those 1,000 customers which are supposed to visit your website per day? Anyone? Yes, guys, how much hardware would you procure in order to like serve 1,000 customers every day?
No idea.
Shalinder, Sarvesh, Sharath, anyone?
Yes, sir. 2 core and 16 GB RAM is enough.
2
2000.
core and
16 GB RAM.
16 GB RAM. Very good. So let me tell you one thing. Let us say today you purchase a server. First of all, servers does not come. The servers do not come with 2 GB like 2 CPU. At least as of today, at least 16 core servers are available. Lower than that are like outdated. Second thing, let us assume you have purchased like 16 core CPU. First of all, till the time you reach that particular level, when you are able to consume your 16 CPU and let us say 64 GB of RAM. So till the time you are ready to consume that hardware capacity. So it means you have over procured the hardware. Second thing, let us say you have only one server just to ensure that you are not purchasing a lot of hardware. You do not want to invest unwantedly into hardware procurement, into hardware purchasing. What if
Yes.
that server goes down? What if that server becomes faulty? So once again, your infra will be down. So it means you will need to have double capacity of it. That is also a challenge with you. It means you will have to spend more and more amount. So just to mitigate these kind of situations, there is a concept which is introduced in the market, which is known as cloud computing. That you need not to have maybe your physical servers, your racks, networking. You need not to worry about ISP. You need not to worry about power supply. That how much power supply we are using from electricity board, how much we are using generators, how much we are using solar energy. Nothing. You need not to worry about. So there is a kind of concept which is being used as of today, which is known as cloud computing. What does that mean? all the information or all the physical servers, all the certifications which are required, which enables you to store your data onto servers, and where the certification is provided to you from the side of CSP. CSP stands for Cloud Service Provider. So that CSP is going to be responsible in order to provide you all the certifications where you can say that yes, where we have kept the data of our customer are quite secure, like no one can log into it. If a server is being dismantled, like server is out of warranty, server is faulty, and there was a time when some customer data was kept onto it, so there are some legal authorities. Those authority will visit the data center, and under their supervision, the particular servers and their hard disk will be melted. It means those will not be recoverable. Like it is not like any like garbage collector will come and will take that hard disk, because that is not useful anymore. No, it does not happen. So under supervision of like signature authority, a person will visit the data center. All the hardware which is being outdated or which is not being used or which is declared that okay, it is like scrap. So that scrap will be dismantled in the kind of supervision of a like signature authority. That is part of government body, right? So those guys, those authorities who are responsible to provide the certification. So under their guidance, that data is dismantled, right? So it means we need not to worry about that kind of certification. Moreover, when we come to like power capacity or like how do we plan for capacity provisioning? So cloud computing says pay for what you use. Let us say as of today, I wanted to have a kind of server where I can have, for example, one CPU, because obviously this is into R&D phase only. I want to one CPU, let us say 2 GB of RAM. And one more, I want to have kind of like maybe 50 GB of hard disk. And let us say 1 gig network speed. 1 gigabit network speed I want, 50 GB hard disk, and 2 GB of RAM, and one CPU. This is only what I want, nothing else. And I want to do a kind of POC on my operating system. Once it will be done, POC means proof of concept. Like the particular kind of website which we are going to work is working properly or not. The kind of user interface we would like to serve to our end user, is that working properly or not? So if that is a particular case, so we can increase this capacity. So right now what we are doing, we are utilizing only one CPU, we are paying for it. Maybe after 2 months when we thought, okay, let us release this particular website for our end users. Now what would happen? We need to increase the capacity to maybe 2 CPU, maybe 4 GB of RAM, maybe 100 GB of hard disk. Network is good enough because we really do not want to go for high end. If this becomes a bottleneck, like this becomes a kind of showstopper for our website, then obviously we can increase, because this can be done on the fly. Like just with a single reboot, we can increase the capacity of it. Are we clear with that, guys? Like, why do we want to go for cloud computing environment?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any questions so far?
Yeah.
Cloud computing and this VPS, virtual private servers, are they same?
So we create virtual private servers inside cloud. So you can assume like this, the kind of physical hardware which we were planning to own. Like we wanted to have our own server, then after we wanted to install kind of virtualization mechanism on that. And then we were planning to create kind of machines on the top of it. Right now that need does not exist anymore. So that need or that part is being taken care by these particular like players in the market, like AWS, Google Cloud, or maybe Azure. So that particular part is being taken care by these big players, and we are just going to their platform, we are utilizing it, and we are paying only for what we are utilizing. So pay as you go, there is a concept. So let us say I do own a car, I have a car, but what is the requirement here is I need to go from here to Delhi. Let us say currently I'm living in UP, for example. I need to go from here to Delhi. Reason being, I need to catch a flight from Delhi to, let us say, Bangalore. So these are two places. So if I take my own car, I will have to pay for that. Pay for what? Like, let us say I keep my car for a month or for a week inside any parking. So I will have to pay for that. So will it not be better for me that I hire a car, I utilize that from my place to Delhi airport. I asked that taxi driver that now you are free, wherever you want, you can go. There was a deal that I will pay only for the time till I will sit in your car, you will drive for me, and that's it. Or another way here is I take my own car, I will drive myself, I'll keep that car in parking for a month or for a week. I will have to pay for that parking itself. Then I go to Bangalore, I finish my work, I come back, then after once again I take my car from parking after a month, and there is no guarantee like what would happen with that. Within that particular 1 month, what would happen with that car? No one is going to take care of that. I take my car and get back. So it is much better that I hire a car, I utilize it maybe for a couple of hours, I pay for it, and then after I leave that car. Isn't it better option? The same way, we are going to pay to AWS or to Google Cloud or to Azure or to DigitalOcean, whatever is the cloud environment. We are supposed to pay only for what we are supposed to use. So there is a model known as pay as you go. Like you travel a lot inside cities, but you know like what is the like situation of traffic inside every city. Everywhere there is a jam, right? So just to get out of it, you are not getting parking space in most of cities, maybe inside your offices as well. So what do people do here is they hire a taxi, they sit inside it, they reach their destination, they let that go. So what do? They have to pay for the time. Let us say they travel only for 15 kilometers. So they will pay only for the rent of 15 kilometers only, not more than that. Same way, if we come to cloud environment. So if I get back to the original question, which was from service side, like who takes care of, do we have our own servers? No, we do not have the kind of virtual machine which we were planning to create earlier. Those underlying hardwares are maintained by AWS or the kind of service provider, whatever we opt, and virtual machines are taken care by us. Like what is going to be operating system version, how many users will have access to it, what kind of software will be installed inside it, do we want to update the software or not, do we want to update the like kind of whatever like inside an operating system is supposed to be performed, that will be our responsibility. But yes, underlying hardware, let us say there is a power failure in data center, so that will be responsibility of AWS for sure. If there is a kind of power failure, that will be responsibility of AWS. Any questions so far, guys, if you have?
Excuse me, sir. Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Is there any situation where maintaining server locally is more advantageous than on cloud?
Yeah, sorry, I lost you in between. Can you please come again?
Is there any situation like that instead of using cloud, we should use a local server to do things? Any situation or any?
Yes, there are. Let us say there are multiple regulatory bodies. For example, you are working with a healthcare domain. Every single healthcare domain has to ensure the report of their patient for next 10 years. Let us say there is an insurance company. The company would want to see, like you have, let us say you are going to purchase a kind of like healthcare insurance. So company asks you to declare as of today that are you suffering from any disease, because you have to declare that if there is an ongoing disease and something happens due to that, so insurance organization will not be responsible till the time you own their policy for next 3 years. Just giving an example, maybe for 2 years or someone owns from the day zero itself. So what happens here is, let us say there is a particular regular hospital which you visit. So that hospital has to provide data to that insurance company that when it was detected very first time, let us say someone got detected with, let us say diabetes. Now there is a very long treatment which is required for that patient where like who got detected with diabetes, right? So that hospital has to maintain the data of that customer, and that data is known as PII, like personal information for an individual. So there is a compliance. If you go outside India, so there is known as HIPAA, HIPPA. If you come to India, like there are different kind of compliance which we have to meet. The same way, if you talk about any kind of regulatory body from finance, so even if we talk about RBI, so RBI has a compliance that the data of bank's customer cannot be kept outside geographical region of India. Getting point? Because
Yes, sir.
if we talk about this dashboard, let's go here. So if you see here, there is a long list going to come in for sure. It will take some time. So let us say within a second we can move from Mumbai to North Virginia. It takes hardly 3 to 4 seconds. Now earlier we were in Mumbai, now we are in North Virginia. So it means if I need to create a server, so I will take equal time in order to provision a server inside North Virginia and inside Mumbai as well. So if you see, it is taking more than expected time. I did not expect that much. So if you see at this particular corner, there will be like name written here. So we do not have really hard-coded control that if we are utilizing kind of AWS or kind of GCP or other like cloud computing platform, so it does not provide us any guarantee that the particular infra will be created here in here in Mumbai itself. So what is written here?
North Virginia.
North Virginia. Earlier, I was in Mumbai. So we do not have a kind of control using which we can ensure that the data will reside inside physical or inside geographical boundaries of India itself. So yes, there are multiple cases where like regulatory bodies enforce the kind of financial institutions to keep their data in physical data centers, because obviously a particular person cannot take a hard disk of a server from one location to another location. And if that happens, so there are multiple checks and balances. But over here, being an AWS admin, and if I want to do some malicious activities, I cannot be controlled. So there are no such control. That's why most of banking sectors do not prefer to keep their customers' personal information onto cloud environment. So yes, there are a couple of examples where it is not recommended to use the cloud environment. Are we clear with that?
Okay, sir.
Guys, any questions so far? If you have any, I would love to explain.
So, are you saying that due to the compliance issue, it's not good to keep your data in AWS?
Yes, because when we are trying to be compliant, let us say, if I raise a ticket today, if you see there are multiple reasons, let us say, do you read this line? There are 10 reasons that are not enabled for this account. Do you read this line?
Yes, sir.
If I want, I can raise a request, and these reasons will also be enabled for me. Not to worry. But let us say if I raise a ticket that I just want to operate in Mumbai region itself, please enable only Mumbai region for me. So there is no such provision like which AWS has as of today. Maybe in future it may come. So there is no such provision that AWS can create my account only for Asia Pacific region or for Mumbai region only. So if being AWS administrator, if I have powers, I can misuse those. Being part of organization has to trust me anyhow. But if, let us say, if there is a conflict, so I can definitely misuse that power, and I can copy the data of my customers from here to North Virginia and from one account to another, maybe to another region. So due to that particular reason, financial institutions are instructed and are governed by RBI, and RBI does not allow an organization to keep the data inside cloud environment. But yes, if it is kept, so there has to be very hard limited policy that only this type of data can be kept inside cloud, and this data has to be monitored very closely. Like there are some kind of policies are supposed to be implemented, like DLP, data leakage prevention kind of has to be there, NIS, NIPS. So there are a lot of control has to be there. If any file is being copied from one data center to another, so if that is done with an authentic user, that should also be monitored. If some unwanted user is trying to access your data into cloud, so that also has to be monitored. So monitoring, and let us say if you get an email via any or like whatever monitoring engine you are using, if you get an email, that has to be reviewed. And moreover, if there is any suspicious activity found, that has to be like reported to relevant authorities. Moreover, there has to be proper investigation. So just to mitigate these many additional checks and balances, financial institutions prefer to run their data center inside on-prem rather than opting for any cloud. I hope that answers the question, Rajesh.
Yes, sir. But in last class you told that there is a government cloud as well.
Yes, but
So
if we talk about AWS Gov Cloud, that is not available for India. As of today, we do not have like AWS governance cloud in India. That is not enabled for India region as of today.
okay, sir.
One more thing is here. Let us say if I want to operate for such a governance cloud, let us say there is like I'm working for an organization which is in US. So it is mandate that I cannot access that AWS console. Let us say this is AWS console. This is hosted somewhere in US or maybe somewhere in like anywhere, whatever reason you want, you can consider it. So if it is hosted in Mumbai, so this location can be accessed from that country's geographical region itself. Let us say if I cannot work from home in that case. If I'm using GovCloud, I'm supporting a US customer. I'm sitting here in India. So I will not be able to access that URL. Reason being, there is a very strict policy that only specific geographical locations are allowed to access that URL. So if I need to support a US customer, I need to be sitting in US. Are we clear
Excuse me,
on
sir.
that?
Hello.
Yes, Abhijit.
Sir, can't we use VPN to show that we are in US?
No,
How would they know,
because
sir?
because even VPN should also be created there, right? And the regular authorities, they do not allow you to connect from outside their country's geographical region. That is why even if you try to connect that location with VPN, that will not be allowed, because obviously there has to be kind of regulatory body inside that organization that where from people are connecting to their VPN. Otherwise, they are breaching their policies.
Okay, sir.
Yes. So technically it is visible that we can showcase like we are sitting here in, let us say, in Germany, in US or Canada or wherever it is. So we can showcase that. But yes, there has to be a regulatory body which controls that where from users are connecting to your VPN, which is allowed to connect to that AWS environment. That is how it works.
Okay.
So are we clear with that? Any other questions so far, guys?
Indra sir, this is first class, first day class, or this is second day?
So this is very first class. Even Linux part is yet not started. I am just trying to explain like what is a server, what is a laptop, what is desktop. Can we use the same machine for a server and for client as well? Like initial when people started learning about this technology, what was the particular mechanism? So I was talking about like how we used to work when I started working maybe around 10 to 15 years before. So how we started doing practice. So we used to use VMware machine because cloud was not there, and if it was there, it was not that popular. So like how we used to do. So yes, now we are on cloud computing section, like how do we use it, what is it, kind of things we are discussing right now. So after this particular point, I'm going to move towards Linux operating system. So first of all, we will see, obviously, because you guys will need to practice when you are done with this particular class. So how do we create a machine first? That part we are going to learn. So guys, this is AWS console. You can easily create your account. Let me tell you one thing very clearly. AWS allows you to create one EC2 machine, one instance with one CPU, 1 GB of RAM, and I must be telling that 30 GB of hard disk for free. No charges. One more thing, let us say today is 8th of July, right? So if you create your account today on AWS, then till 7th of July, 2024, there will be no charges. your account would run for free. 1 CPU, 1 GB of RAM, and 30 GB of disk. AWS will not charge you anything for that because AWS provides you 750 hours, 750 hours every single month. And this is known as free tier. Moreover, the same database you can create. One computing instance and one database instance you can create with this same hardware specification for free for 1 calendar year. It is not from 1 Jan to 31st Jan. No. The day you create your account, so for next 365 days, it will allow you to create one free instance in your AWS account. Are we clear with that? So it means we need to ensure that whenever we are done with the practice, whatever we wanted to do, so now we need to ensure that we are going to terminate the machine after our practice is over. Otherwise, it will create a problem for us. Okay.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. If after 1 year we use 730 hours or not for 1 month, it's free or chargeable?
It is chargeable. Around 8 point something dollar you will have to pay.
Yeah,
Sir,
okay,
I
know
have, sir, I
because
have one
last
doubt,
month,
sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, recently my AWS account done, sir.
Pardon?
But how to, sir, my AWS account recently done, sir. Sir, how to rejoin, sir, AWS account?
You can use another email address. You can create new account. So I created this account last week only because even my account got expired. Like that, completed 1 year. I created new one. It's been more than 8 to 9 years. I've been creating every single year. I create a new account and I utilize it.
Thank you, sir.
sir, but
question.
I think ये card he received my PAN card number and debit card details.
I also have only one PAN card number. I am utilizing my same credit card for last couple of years, and that is working for me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, sir.
So okay.
One question.
Yeah, please.
Do we need to terminate it every time or can we stop it?
So it is always recommended to terminate it. Why? Let me tell you the reason. Let us say today I'm working here in Mumbai because see when we are quite new to any environment, so sometimes either you can call it like carelessness or you can call it ignorance or you can call it like lack of knowledge, right? So what happens here is today I created a machine here in Mumbai. Next day when I log in, so I found that suddenly I am redirected to North Virginia region by default, right? I created a machine there and stopped that. Next day, I thought of, okay, let us see some other reason. You created a machine and stopped that. So, okay, you are ensuring every single time that you stop that machine. But what happens here is 30 GB storage you utilize in Mumbai, 30 GB you utilized in, let us say, North Virginia, 30 GB, let us in Ohio. So right now you are at 90 GB. 30 GB is free, but for rest 60 GB you will have to pay. Obviously, you are not utilizing compute section, like you are not utilizing CPU or RAM. But yes, hard disk is at 90 GB. So that is why it is recommended that whenever you are not utilizing the resources, terminate this because it hardly takes around 1 or 2 minutes in order to create a machine.
My query was like it deletes our history of commands and other things. So if we restart a machine, can we have a snapshot of machine?
So if you have a snapshot of machine, right? So once again, you will be charged for keeping that snapshot in the account. So it is all about saving the machine. And let us say that you want to have a history of your commands. What you can do, you can copy from there and you can open your notepad and you can copy the commands there before terminating it.
Okay. It's better to terminate it.
Yes, because see, I have seen couple of my students which comes to me saying like there is a particular bill of 10,000 rupees or maybe like 1,000 rupees, 7,000 rupees. How do we like pay it? Because even they have not learned that much what they are supposed to pay. Let us say they used to create LVMs and they used to create kind of LBs. They used to create EC2 machines and they forgot it. Moreover, I recommend to use very small amount of machine, like 1 CPU, 1 GB of RAM. They started creating like machines with 4 CPU and like 16 GB of RAM. Obviously, that will be paid. it is recommended till the time you are learning. So not to be really careful for the machines, just terminate it.
Okay, no issue.
Okay, so right now we
Yeah, we
need
can
to,
use the same PAM. We can use the same key pair. We don't have to.
yes,
it
we can do that for sure. So guys, we need to ensure till the time you are working, let us say someone is from, let us say, Ben, where are you from? Ben, you there?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm here. I'm calling from the UN, calling in from UN.
Okay, great. So let us say you can always select like North Virginia region for those guys, like wherever the guys are coming here from, so they can select their own region. But yes, they have to stick to one region only.
That's right.
Like I would not say that you select Mumbai region, because see, like it will be very near to you. Like if you are utilizing North Virginia, maybe South, maybe West Virginia, kind of. So yes, it is recommended to utilize the region which is near to you, but we have to stick to only one region. So like this is a kind of AWS interface. This is a kind of dashboard where you can easily see like how many instances are currently running. This particular section will show like how many are created. Maybe if it is one, so it means one instance is created, but in stopped mode, it will show you kind of like how many volumes or how many disks have been created, right? If you have like how many key pairs you have, how many security groups, load balancers, public elastic IP address. So everything is displayed. This is a kind of dashboard for our EC2 machine. So whenever you log out, you need to ensure that this section has to be free. This section should be showing 0. And this section as well. AWS does not charge you to have key pairs. AWS does not charge you to have security groups. But yes, if you have snapshots, AWS will charge you. If you have load balancer, elastic IP address, volumes, instances, then AWS is definitely going to charge you. If it is more than one, for sure. One more thing I would like to highlight here. Let us say there is a kind of topic which we will definitely discuss in coming time. If you need 2 or more machines, then what? So let us say AWS is going to give us a machine which we can run maybe for 24 hours every day. AWS says you can run a machine 24 hours every day. Now, what is the scenario? We need 4 machines. We need 4 machines. So what if we need 4 machines? We can divide by 24 divided by 4 machines. So that becomes 6. So you can run 4 EC2 machines for 6 hours without paying anything. End of the day, AWS counts the number of hours what you are utilizing their resource for. So you can run maybe 3 EC2 machines for 8 hours every day. And you will not need to pay anything to AWS. Because see, right now we are just doing practicals. When there will be a real-time scenario, when we will start working for any organization, there will be where hundreds and thousands of machines will be there, which we will have to maintain. So why to pay in that account which is owned by us? So it is of no use to keep machine running. We will go here now. We will hit on launch instance. So guys, either you can call it an instance, you can call it VM, you can call it VMS, virtual machine server. Now you can give an identifier, like you can give it a name, that why you are creating this machine, how will you remember this machine. So let us say I'll call it Linux box. Now the next one, what kind of flavor of operating system would you like to have? Like you would like to have Amazon Linux. So guys, keep this thing in mind. This is a customized machine, and this is based on Red Hat operating system, Red Hat, or you can call that CentOS. So they have customized it for their environment. Couple of parameters they have already tuned in order to run it like a virtual machine. So you can utilize Amazon Linux. If you want to go for like macOS, obviously you will have to pay really higher charges for this. If you want to go for Ubuntu, you can opt this Ubuntu machine. This is also Linux flavor. You can go for Windows Server. If you have enterprise support enabled, you can go for Red Hat 9. By default, it is going to provide you Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9. So whatever we are going to study within this particular session, that will be on RHEL 9. Obviously, I will try to explain kind of differences, like what if you were studying on RHEL 8? What were the differences there? What are the difference between RHEL 7 and 8 and 7, like 8 and 9? So these kind of differences for sure we will try to see here. So another flavors here are like you can use SUSE Linux or Debian. So for now, I have selected Red Hat. Now, I'm going to select 64-bit operating system. This is main thing, guys. If you see, we are going to select T2.micro instance. Only this is the instance which comes for free. T2.micro. It provides you one vCPU, like one virtual CPU it is going to provide you, and 1 GB of RAM. Memory means RAM. Okay. So this is the only instance which comes for free, and we do not have to pay anything. But yes, if you are going beyond your limits, then how much you need to pay, you can calculate it. Like for Windows, how much you need to pay, for Linux, for RHEL, for SUSE, how much you need to pay, you can calculate it later on. Now guys, see like this. When we need to log into a server, so we need username and password, right? Or can we log into an operating system without username or password? Yes, guys. Can we log into an operating system without username and password?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Without username or password?
Yes, sir. On this machine. Only key. Use the key.
Okay. Here is an option, proceed without a key pair. Will it work? Will it allow me to log in?
No.
No, not possible, sir.
Yes, Grace, you are right. We are not going to be allowed to log into this machine. So like the same way we have a kind of username or a kind of password, the same way, in order to access this machine, whatever will be created for us, whatever we are working on right now to create it. So we need to ensure that we have a kind of mechanism to log into that machine. Login means to access that machine. So we are going to give it a name. Let me define here Linux July 23. This is the name which I'm going to give. Otherwise, if someone, let us say you will have to go to face interviews as well, and someone might ask you like, how do you keep the naming convention for your key pairs? How do you keep your naming convention? Because obviously there might be an organization where people are working in different data centers, let us say in different geographical regions. Let us say an organization is operating in US, in UK, in Australia, in Canada, in Japan, kind of. So how, or maybe in India, so how you're going to keep the naming convention? Any idea, guys? Guys, any idea like how do we give a particular name to these keys? Not a problem. Let me come on to it. So guys, the ideal way here is, let us say what kind of service we are going to utilize. Let us say it is going to be, let us say web server. Now the environment, it is production or non-production. Let us say it is prod. Now it is for like which region? Web server prod, let us say Mumbai. Your region. This is how we can keep the particular naming convention. Like obviously you would like to prefer to have a kind of different key for dev environment, different key for prod environment, and you would like to have a different key for database, for middleware servers, for Redis, for Kafka, for Cassandra. So if it is work for web, so like common key can be used. Are we clear with that? Guys, are we clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now, since I'm going to create this particular key for Linux batch, Linux, the month is July when we are starting, and the year is 23. I would like to keep it this way. Now, guys, there are two formats. Like how we are planning to access this machine later on once it is created. So either I might have a Linux operating system. Okay, let me mute. Again. Okay, so either we are going to have a kind of terminal. Let us say I have this terminal. This is Mac OS default terminal. We have kind of this. We have. Second thing, if I want to access it from Windows, so Windows does not give this kind of terminal. So in order to access it from Windows, and you want to have same kind of terminal, so there is a kind of software which you guys can install on your operating system, which is known as Git Bash. Yes, this is the particular tool which you can download. Obviously, like this is available for all the three operating system type, like for Mac, for Windows, and for Linux. You will download it for Windows. This is especially for those guys who owns a Windows operating system, right? You can download a 32 or maybe 64-bit Windows setup. You can install it, and once you install, so it will allow you to have this kind of terminal, this kind of command line interface you will have, and you can consume that in order to access or in order to perform anything related to Linux operating system. Are we clear with that, guys?
Yes.
Second thing, if you do not want to have additional software, so you might already have a kind of PuTTY software, PuTTY, PuTTY. So if you want to access your server via PuTTY, so you can keep the extension as .ppk. And if you want to access via any terminal, like as I have shown you two, like first of all that Git Bash, and second one is this, which I have on this particular Mac OS. So you can use .pan. So that is up to you, that which kind of tool you are going to use to access your server once it is created. So we are going to prefer .pem because obviously I'm working on a Mac operating system right now, and I have this default environment, right? Okay, now I'm going to create a key pair. The particular information which I have written, like this is the name, this is like encryption type, this is going to be kind of file format, and now I'm going to create this. As soon as I hit create key, so there comes a warning that do not ever lose this key. This cannot be recovered at all. Usually people ask during interview, okay, what if I lost my key, which I used in order to create the server? Can I recover that? So the answer here is no, a big no. We cannot recover the key. There are ways like how we can re-enable or how we can gain the access to this particular server once again. But yes, trust me when I say that this particular key cannot be regenerated. If it is lost once, it is gone. Now, guys, these are kind of networking settings. Networking means like what VPC, virtual private cloud, we are going to utilize. Like what subnet would you like to prefer? Obviously, I would explain like going forward, but right now I'm just keeping it very high level. So what kind of like this, obviously we cannot create a server without having firewall enabled for this. So what kind of like port number would you like to whitelist? Like SSH works on port number 22. HTTPS works on port number 443. HTTP works on port number 80. So based on this particular stuff, so we can decide like what particular service I would want to run on this particular server, and based on that, obviously I can allow like these particular ports. Since this machine is being created only for demo purpose, only for basic utilization, So I need to have very minimum number of ports open on the machine. Otherwise, this will become a problematic thing for me. Are we clear with that?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to enable only port 20. And now there is an option like where from you would like to open it. So anywhere means anywhere in this world, anywhere like around the world. If someone has access to internet, and if I share the IP address of this machine and the key which I have just created and that got downloaded onto my system, so anyone from the world will be entitled to log into that machine without any restriction. Second thing, let us say I want to allow that this machine should be accessible from my office only. So let us say there is a particular IP address. Let us say it is like 123.48.98.0/24. Any random IP address I have mentioned here. So if I want that only from this subnet, any user who is coming from this IP address range should be allowed to log into this particular machine. I can define that. Not only one, I can define multiple. Right? Second thing, one more thing is here. Let us say if I'm going to create it for my own purpose. So what I'll do here is I'll define here my IP. So this is the IP address which I'm utilizing in order to access internet as of today. Currently, this is my IP address. So sometimes this can create problem. Reason being, let us say when you created a machine, so your IP address is something else. And let us say if your ISP has changed this IP address from backend, so this can be a problematic thing for you. Till the time you guys are working only for practice session, so you can keep it from anywhere, because obviously you are not supposed to share your keys with anyone. So your machine is going to remain secure. Now, if you want to how much storage you want to add here, so by default it's coming with like 10 GB of disk space. Now there are different categories. We will discuss these categories sometime later. But right now there are different categories. Whenever we create, so by default it comes with GP2, general purpose 2. This is the category of SSD type volume. And now we are going to see here how many instances we want to create. Only one. You can increase numbers. So maybe like if I define here 10, right? So 10 EC2 machines will be created within same time frame, which will be taken for one EC2 machine creation. So based on my requirement, I can increase number of instances here. Are we clear on that?
Yes, yes.
Now hit launch instance. So this is initialization request, succeed. Creating security group, succeed. Creating security group rules, that is all successful. Launch instance is successful. So if I click here, then obviously this particular will redirect me to that instance which we have created, or there is another way. You can click here and this will take you to that particular screen where all the instances are available. So you can click here on this particular, so it will display only that instance which is just created, or you can click here on this particular icon. This comes in bottom side, bottom right hand side. So you can click here. Whatever you want, it will redirect you to the same screen. The difference here is, if let us say there are 100 instances running, you have created one new, so it will select only that specific instance for you. Are we clear with that, guys?
Yes.
So now let us try to see what are we supposed to do here once this machine is available, once this machine is created. So we will select it. As soon as we select, there are multiple options which gets highlighted here. If I uncheck it, why it is working so slow? There is nothing. But as soon as I select it, it will come with plenty of information related to this machine, such as platform is Red Hat, platform details Red Hat Enterprise Linux, stop production disabled, instance auto recovery disabled, AMI launch index. Like a lot of information is available. Like what is instance ID, what reservation ID, what is AMI, like which was used in order to create this machine. If you want to see about the security of this instance, you can see there is one security group which says like port number 22 is whitelisted. If you want to edit it, obviously you will have to go to next section of it, next page, and you can edit the security group. You can edit the security group from here without any issue. Security group means firewall rule. I hope we all are clear with that, right? Security group means firewall rules. Then we can see the networking, like what is public IP address, what is private IP address, and what is DNS name, what is private public DNS name, what is private DNS name. Everything we can select from here. We can read it out. About storage, we can check like how much storage added, when it was attached, when it was created. About monitoring, that we can check the performance of this operating system. Everything is available related to this machine. Now, finally, we have a particular option here which is known as connect. Connect means we want to log into that machine. We want to access that machine. So I will hit here and it will show me a couple of options here. So guys, keep this thing in mind. You can log in this machine by 4 different ways. First of all, you can EC2 instance connect. You can select this option, select your username, default username, and you can hit connect here. So let me tell you, it takes some time in order to allow you to log into your EC2 machine by this way. Maybe it can take a couple of minutes. Otherwise, it gives some error. We need to wait for quite some time. See, it is a machine which is just created. So it has thrown some kind of error. But yes, after some time, if you try, it will work. Then Session Manager, this is an additional kind of software which has to be installed within your EC2 machine before accessing this. Third one is SSH client. This is the most common one which most of people use in order to take control of your remote machine, in order to log into remote machine, which is known as SSH client. What are SSH client? Either this terminal or that putty which we were talking about earlier. So I'll copy this particular example command and I'll go to my downloads, because download is a particular folder. So if I create any key or if I download anything from internet, so by default that comes into my download folder. I'll paste that command here. I'll hit enter. It is asking me, okay, this is the particular iPad of this machine. This is host name. So do you wish to continue? If I say no, it will not allow me to log in. It will say host key verification failed. Like it is trying to say hello to remote server. Hit enter once again, type in yes. So it says that permission are this much. These are too open. These keys are not secure. Change your permission and then try again. So obviously, like this will be covered within our coming sessions, like how do we change permission of our Linux servers that way. So obviously, I'll explain that to you guys. But for now, let me execute this command: chmod, change mode of permission to 400 to what is the key file name? Linux July 23. Okay. So now only user is able to read the file. I'll explain what is this 4, what is this 00. I'll explain everything during the session. So don't worry about that for now. Yes, we are able to log into that machine. Home/EC2 user. So guys, this is known as command line. This is known as like how do we log into our operating system? Guys, any questions so far?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Abhijit.
Sir, what was that fingerprint after yes and no?
fingerprint. Okay. So let us say when two people start talking, let us say you and me are willing to start conversation. So how are we supposed to initiate that? So just let me take a very like layman language. So let us say if I meet someone and can I directly invite that person? Okay, let's take lunch. Obviously no. So there is a particular way. First of all, I'll say hello. The person would reply. If replies, then I would say, okay, my name is this. What is your name? Which is fine. Next, I will say, okay, I work in this department. What is your department? So it means, first of all, we should be knowing each other before doing any kind of business together, right? So the same way, when we talk about this particular machine, if I try to, okay, now the particular very first time when I tried to log into this machine, so we were supposed to exchange kind of information like of one another, right? This time it is not going to ask me anything. Reason being, now the system understands that who the other system is. And how does my system know? So there is a particular file in my operating system with .ssh. We will understand about it. I have deleted the particular information. Once again, it will ask the same information. Okay. I might have deleted something else, not for this user, this particular. I need to copy this, then I'll need to delete that from my non-host file. There is a file known as non-host. So if I delete that file, then once again it will ask that I do not recognize that. The information which was stored in that particular file, which is known as non-host. So if I remove that piece of information from my system, so it does not understand that who the other person is. It will not do any kind of business with the person or with the system, with the server, till the time it understands that who the other system is. What is the identity of other system? Are we clear with that?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, let me tell you one more thing. So going forward, like this is a very basic session. We are just trying to see how to create EC2 machine and all. Going forward, we are going to see like what kind of other information is transferred just in order to provide that prompt. A lot of things happens from the time when we hit this enter. Like I want to log into that machine. So first of all, it says, okay, open SSH. SSH means secure shell. This is the version, like this is the library version, right? Reading configuration data from, okay, what is the configuration file which is kept on this operating system where from I am trying to initiate connection to remote server. This is my system file. Now, what is the particular line number where from this particular configuration is being matched? What is the particular line number like which is being applied right now? What is the particular file which is being read? Okay. If you know that I modified this particular file, remember before a couple of minutes only.
Yes, sir.
So why? Like expanded user non-host file. Like if I want to ensure that who all are the non-host for me or for my operating system, where the information is supposed to be kept within this particular file or to this particular file. So a lot of information happens now when this information is enabled. Now what it is like connecting to this machine on port number 22. So as I told you earlier as well, port number 22 is kept reserved for doing SSH onto remote system. Now my operating system tried to connect, and the other system means where I'm trying to connect, that allowed the connectivity. That yes, I am ready to accept connection on this particular port number. You are welcome. Now other kind of information is being inter-exchange, like what kind of algorithm, what kind of like hashing we are going to use to encrypt data while data will be in transit. Like what kind of encryption mechanism, means like how are we going to secure data when it will be traveling from one server to another. Let us say I want to send some file from my system to remote server. So how will it be secured? When I want to download some information from there to my system, how will it be secured? So if that is the particular stuff, if that is the particular thing which we want to ensure, so how will it be taken care? So this is the kind of negotiation which is happening between two systems. Are we clear with that?
Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Otherwise, you will be able to see only these three lines. Nothing else. Are we clear with that, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us talk something about like when we log into it. So obviously, like I would not start the Linux today itself. Why it is so? Because first of all, we need to understand like what we are going to learn, what is going to be use case of it, and the things which we have been discussing so far. So we need to focus on that. So what is this? There is only one single line written here. What does it mean? What do you guys understand out of this highlighted line?
This is a command prompt.
This is a command prompt. Very good. Any other one?
It is telling us our host name or IP and our username.
TS1.
Come again.
TS1, right?
Your voice is breaking, Ben. Rajkiran.
User interface, sir.
Yes, Raj, go ahead.
It's user interface we can see, or config mode.
This is the terminal, sir.
This is
Terminal.
terminal.
This is normal user.
And
This is
they
normal.
use the home.
Okay, let me come on to it. Don't worry. The very first thing which you see here, this is a username. The user which we used in order to log into this operating system. Now, where this user is created. So the other line says the host name here. This is the host name. Right? This symbol, this is known as tilde. Right? This is found under escape character. If we press escape shift, like the button on our keyboard under escape button, so that is the same button which is known as tilde, right? This represents the home directory of user. Home directory means like each one of us has home. Whenever we go to office and we have to go back, so where do we go? Home. So the same way, every user in Linux operating system also has a home, until and unless we explicitly decide not to allocate a home directory to any user. So this tilde symbol represents that right now the user is operating from its home directory. Now, there is one more thing which is known as this dollar symbol. What does that mean? It says that this is a normal user. Now, what is abnormal user?
Normal.
Now, what does it mean like it is normal user? Then who is going to be abnormal? So anyone apart from root, there is a user known as root. This is the name. And that user is known as super user. So apart from that user, everyone is known as normal user. Now, when we will discuss about like users and system administration, so we will get to know about different type of users within normal category itself. Like there will be service user, there will be system users, there will be like regular users. We will go into more details about it, but yes, for now we need to understand this. This is username. This is host name of the server, like this is the name given to this particular computer while it was being created. This is home directory for this particular user, EC2, and this is the symbol to represent whether user is super user or not. So if it is represented with dollar, it is known as normal user, and if I run a command sudo su hyphen, it will change the user to root, which is super user on this operating system. Because both the users are created on the same OS, on the same host name, on the same server, host name remains same. Both the users are working in their home directory. Earlier directory was this, now directory is same. But yes, there is a difference, which I'll tell you after a couple of moments only. But this has been modified. Earlier it was pound, now earlier it was dollar, now it is pound, or you can call that hash. So if you see anywhere this particular symbol is written, you need to quickly understand that this is super user of the operating system. Are we clear with that, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now there is a command known as pwd, print working directory, where I am right now. So right now I am inside /home/ec2 user. Obviously, what is /home we will discuss in coming in maybe tomorrow session. This is username. So there is a home directory created for this user. This is the very first command. And now, guys, if you see, there is only single character like pwd, like single word written. But earlier I executed sudo, then after su, then after hyphen. What are these? So keep this thing in mind, guys. There are three things. First of all, there can be a command. Let us say I want to copy something. Just giving you a very like 10,000 feet overview right now, but in detail we will discuss later on. There will be a command. Now there will be an option. Option means argument. You can call that like some kind of additional features which enhance the utility of that particular command. And then the argument. Let us say any file. What is this? Let me explain you guys very clearly. CP means copy. This is the command. And command is a program which is executed in order to achieve something in systematic way. This is known as command. These are known as options. These are known as options. These are known as argument. A command may have one or more arguments. So this is first argument. Like this CP command, copy command is going to be executed on this particular file because I want to copy this, and this is the particular location where I want to copy that. So these two are known as argument. This section is known as what do we call this? Middle section, which comes immediate after command. Abhijit.
Option.
Okay, very good. Raj. So this is command, this is option. And guys, there is a particular thing to understand. What if I remove this space? Will it work?
No.
Okay, what if I remove space from here and I add a particular space here? Will it work?
No, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So whenever we need to define a command and its options, we need to define a space. We can keep more than one space for sure. That will not impact the command output. But yes, ideally it is supposed to be one. That has to be best practice. So, but if it is more than one, that is going to work. Right? Second thing, we cannot run a command without specifying a space. Now, there is a space between like command and its option. Now, option and the like first argument, and there is a space between first and second argument. How does Linux interpret these commands? If these are specified with particular spaces, then it is considered as command, then option, then the argument. And this dollar represents, this is a normal user, this is a regular user, this is PWD is like shows, this tilde shows like the user is operating from home directory. Now, let me execute another command. So right now, once again, I have escalated sudo means like super user do. Su means switch the user. Like we want to switch as super user. Right? So if you see here, now this is the particular user. This is the host name. But if you see this time, that tilde symbol is not coming in. And why is that so? Because right now user root is operating from this user's home directory. Are we clear with that?
Yes, sir.
Let us say if any one of you invite one of your friend to your place, so that the person may work from there, but it is not the person's home, it is your home, right? So how do we take this user to home? CD and enter, that's it. CD is the command which is used for like change directory, and like PW is the command to check your current working directory. Sudo is a command which enables you to use like super user privilege, and SU is the command to switch user. Like from if you want to jump from one user to another user on the operating system, then you will use SU command. Are we clear with that, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, guys, I would like to keep it till this place only, because obviously, first of all, we will try to understand. Obviously, tomorrow we will have a session at the same time. So tomorrow, first of all, I would like to explain, because this is something new for you guys. You will need some time to absorb it. So the kind of things which we have discussed, because see, we have just created one EC2 machine, and aside to that, we have understood like what is like what are the kind of server we have, what is physical server, what is virtual machine, what is cloud computing, like if it is required to establish a data center, what things are required, why do we move on to cloud computing environment, then after how do we create EC2 machine, how do we log into it. These are the particular things which we have discussed today, right? Tomorrow at 9 a.m. once again we will begin, and we will initiate with like how do we manage Linux command line, what is a user, and what is like why do we use this /home, what are the like very basic command, like how do we check time, like we will see the date command, we will see like how do we check calendar, how do we use additional parameters with this calendar command, how do we check the host name of the system. So basic things, obviously. Right, guys? So that is it for today.
Yes, sir.
So guys, any feedback for the session?
Yeah,
Like
very nice teaching, sir. Yeah, very nice teaching, sir.
Thank you, bro. So guys, if you find like the kind of things are missing from the session, kind of things I'm explaining in more detail, these should not be explained, or these should be like a couple of things which I might have missed to add. So you can let me know my feedback. I will try to improvise. Because even I personally feel I'm a student of this field.
You have already improved, sir. But
Keshav, any feedback?
Yes, sir. Very nice session, sir. Very informative.
Great lessons, and today learning is great.
Nice
Yeah.
question, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, great lesson, sir. Thank you, sir.
Not a problem, Gyan. Okay, so Sarvesh.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, Sarvesh. Any feedback from your side?
Yeah, this was nice session. I asked you a few questions on WhatsApp. You told that you will discuss after the session.
For sure, for sure. So we can discuss that after this particular session. Okay, guys. Now, first of all, let me tell you that do not show a lot of love towards this particular instance which we created. So as soon as you are done with the session, select it. Let me show you how do we terminate it. Select this. Oh, this system is a little slow, like AWS. Go to instance state and go to terminate and hit terminate. That's it. So guys, this will help you to save your money. So okay, everyone. I hope to see you tomorrow as well at the same time.
Hello.
Yes.
I want to give my feedback because I'm following you from last 4 years.
Oh,
Okay.
Narayan, great.
I know your journey and where you started and all. I'm love to you hear that also. But the way you are explaining, the way you started the journey, you are so awesome. I'm to be frank, I'm first time I'm hearing uh, uh, in live your class.
Oh,
So I
great.
used to I used to follow in all your YouTube videos. Even you are covering almost all of the what I can say most of the points. So you know any layman can understand the way you are explaining.
Thank you for your kind words, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll also add a word here.
Yes, please, Sarvesh.
What differentiate you from other YouTube channels is that they normally teach the core Linux things only, but you fit in into the environment, how companies use it, what are the user roles over there. These things other people don't mention at all.
Yes, because there is a particular thing, Sarvesh, I would like to amend your statement. The main thing here is most of people who are teaching, they are just teaching. They are kind of full-time trainers. They read books, they understand concept, they implement the things which are written into the books onto terminal. They find the desired output. If it is coming, it means they are satisfied and they want others to be satisfied by the same way. But when we go into real environment, you know what? Like whatever has been taught so far, the things are not being utilized. And let me tell you, the kind of commands which I'm going to tell you during this particular session, these will hardly be utilized only 30%. Rest, the kind of discussion which we are going to do during this session. Like if this is the scenario, then how you are supposed to behave. If this is the scenario, like how you are supposed to like cover up things, right? If you are into kind of situation, then how you are supposed to react. So those are the things which will help you more than the kind of commands which I'm going to tell you.
Yes,
I do not only teach, I share my experience. Obviously, I do
that
not
makes a
explain my company's
difference.
infra, but yes, the kind of knowledge which I have gained from different, like when I worked with different organizations, definitely I love to share that.
Sure.